Hey, folks, here we are. We might be drunk. We're doing it. And we got rum and cokes here. And our old pal, Anthony DeVito.
Man, what's up?
What's shaking?
Good to see you, dude.
Nothing much, man. Good to see you guys.
Oh, well, you went Jersey Tony on us all of a sudden here.
You're using the ottoman. I don't think anyone's ever used it before.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do like, whenever, I like to get as comfortable as humanly possible in any situation. Because I don't know, you guys are pretty similar where you have nerves all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Like some kind of underbelly of nerves. So if I can appear as comfortable as possible, my body might be fooled into thinking like I'm super relaxed.
Right.
Well, that's why we put the whiskey in there.
Oh yeah, no man, this is all great. This is a great setup. I'm glad you guys could join me on my pod. This is this is great.
You know that shit is true though. They say, I read a fun fact, if you smile, even if you're not actually happy, your brain will think you're happy and it'll help you feel better.
Yeah, I think that's the movie The Joker right there. He's like, I'm doing great.
Yeah, I must be. That's how dumb we are. That's so crazy that you could just fool yourself with a smile. But I remember doing that starting off. I think because I saw I I would watch Nick Turner seems so comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
And he would just he would hold the mic stand and he would just kind of lean in certain ways. And it was he probably was doing the same thing, but I was like, that guy is comfortable. Man. So for years I did that with but with a timbre, a shaking voice. Do you know what I mean? I'm not fooling anybody.
This is going to sound like bullshit. I remember you going from here to here comedically with confidence. You just kicked it up a notch and I went up to you because we were all struggling, and you're clueless as a comic. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And should I go blackface? Should I go props? We're all thinking. And
in Mark's case, both.
Yeah. We all supported it.
Yes. Thank you for that.
These were different times 3 years ago.
Hopefully that footage isn't unearthed. But I hate unearthed. It's so dramatic. But my point is, I went up to you because I was just always looking for tips or notes or anything, and I said, your confidence is up. What would you do? Would you change? And all you said was, every line that comes into my head, I just say it now. Instead of worrying, is this funny? Is that something? Is it? You just regurgitate it all. Just throw it out there.
It doesn't work for everybody, by the way.
No.
I think Mel Gibson and Michael Richards did the same thing. Did not end well.
I mean, there's a little censoring.
Yeah, for sure. But no, but I think I needed that. You know what I mean? To then get back to okay, I can think a little bit more. But I felt so reserved that I was I can't riff at all or be in the moment because I'm so held back by whatever filter I have going on. So it was I had to just be just say anything.
Say it.
And then clean it up later.
Yeah.
And it was also, that was years ago where it was before everyone filmed anything.
Anonymity was nice. Yeah.
So it was it was huge to be able to just bomb without any worry at all. Man.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
You need that for
comedy. I used to think about doing prom shows. I said the worst shit.
Oh my
these kids.
God.
Oh my
Man.
God.
And then when you fucked them.
That was actually the least offensive part.
I was still doing my act. I still counted it. No, I remember there was one night at LOL, and it's I can't remember for the life of me what I said. I just have this very vivid memory of looking an old Indian man in the face, giving him the finger and going, fuck you, and getting off. And it's whatever went up to that moment, but it's exactly. You're I am so
Knowing
happy.
that club, he probably deserved it.
Yeah. I still stand by it. I think he did. I think it was one rude engineer from Bangladesh. I do. But
the good thing about you is you can go, wait, I'm Indian.
You do have the ethnically ambiguous look. I mean, what do you get?
I mean, Jewish is the most common, but I think that's just a product of living in New York. There's more Jews here than others.
Just means you're an uncool Italian.
Yeah. I never get Italian, which is always very insulting. Yeah. But I got this the other day, and I didn't really know what it meant because I don't know a ton about Judaism, but I was outside Joe's Pizza in Williamsburg, and I was just eating a slice, and this guy comes up to me, and he was like, are you Jewish? And I was like, I'm not. And he goes, that's a shame. We needed a 12th. We need a 12th Jew. I don't know for what.
What is that? Like a 12-step Jew program?
But sport?
I don't know, but for me, I was like, you're not doing yourself any favors with like there's sorcery involved. So
yeah,
I was like,
maybe it's a softball team.
It could have been a softball team. It could have been
6-on-6 softball.
Yeah.
I think it was some, and I don't know, but I think it was some kind of ceremony that, and not anything devious, but just some kind of religious ceremony that they.
You look in the window, they're putting deer blood on their face.
I think the Jews do put sheep blood on the door.
It's on something.
Something.
There's blood involved. I'm a terrible Jew.
Or like Orthodox, like the super Jewish do that. They'll use animal blood.
Goat's blood, I think it is.
Priests put it on their finger after they do what they do.
That's just celebratory. I don't knock that.
Jew blood.
But yeah, no, I would get Jewish a lot. I got Mexican more when I was younger, but I think I've like aged out of Mexican a little bit. And now it's pretty much strictly the occasional Jewish, but like the standard is Middle Eastern.
Yeah, Middle Eastern to me, I see the most.
Yes. I get that the most often. Like any audition I've showed up to auditions. I remember showing up to an audition for the part of Samir. And then when I signed into the call sheet, there were 6 guys named Samir there.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, he's here. Like, there's no way I'm going to get it. That's crazy. It might not have been 6. There's probably like 3 or whatever. But
Ambiguous is good, though, for roles. Because you're probably the only guy who's auditioned for Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, they save $1 that way.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I do. And then I have another memory of like whoever the guy is that directed the Bourne Identities, like Doug, I'm not sure his last name.
Oh, Lyman.
Yeah, Doug Lyman.
Is that Lyman?
Yeah, he's the first one.
He did Swingers.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So there was some like Verizon commercial, and I would only go out for like, cab driver, hot dog vendor, hijacker. So what is this Verizon commercial? And I was just doing the cab driver and I was doing the lines, and it was a callback. So it was like, it was a big deal. It's one of the first auditions. There's so many people in the room. I'm nervous. And like the Bourne Identity is like my mom's favorite movie. So I walk in and I was like, hey man, Bourne Identity is my mom's favorite movie. He could give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
So I sit down, I start doing the cab driver, and they were like, can you do this like a little more ethnic for us? And I was like, well, like, what do you mean?
How many years ago was this?
I mean, this was probably like 6 years ago.
Yeah,
this is pretty.
Climate's changed.
Yes, you could get away with this in a casting room. So like, and I was like,
now they say a little more New York authentic.
Right.
A little more, I don't know, Jackson Heightsy.
Could you be smellier?
So I'm doing it, and then and I said, because I was worried, because I was like, look, I can't do the voice. So if you want me to do the voice, it's going to be racist. Right. Because I'm not good at the voice. And that's how it's just going to be. And they were like, I'm sure it'll be fine. So the minute I start,
here we go.
Yeah, I don't even say words. I just go, oh, duty booty, where should we go, ma'am? It's not even in the script. And they were like, yeah, that'll be enough.
Why did you add stuff?
I felt the character.
Oh, man.
You're the reason they killed off Apu.
Yeah. No, and I remember Hari was right outside the room. And right after that, I saw him take out his notepad and just furiously write.
Damn. Booty, doobie.
That's not good.
But yeah, I was like, let me try to find it. So I did that first to like rev the engine. And it was so horrible.
You got down, you started praying on that 5 times at the audition.
And that's my biggest fear, is that like those casting directors they have the tapes and they just get drunk and they just watch the tapes with each other, or they go, oh, this guy's somebody now.
Right.
We're going to leak this. This is going to be a tragedy for him.
They get to enjoy that later. Like, remember that fucking guy with the booty?
I do kind of love that. Yeah. That they could at least have a good time with that.
What is going on with self-tapes? Have you ever gotten... I've auditioned. I've done 900 self-tapes. I've never gotten one. Maybe I've gotten 2 callbacks in 900. Maybe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we're not actors.
No.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, we're going against people, but think about this, we're going against people who their whole life is acting.
Right.
It's literally like them showcasing on a stand-up show with us.
Yeah.
Like, how come I can't book this?
I know.
You're on with pros.
And mine's like an iPhone tilted up on a counter, and I'm like, am I in front of it, And then you have to rewatch it to make sure you got halfway in it.
I'm always reading it with my friend. I read with John Weisberg all the time, who's like stuttering through his words. I'm like, you're blowing the rhythm.
I know.
Yeah. I do it with Julia, my fiance, who's like gets too into it. There gets like it clicks in her a little bit that she's like, I could have this role,
right?
And then all of a sudden it's like, you're making this about you, and now it's a major problem because you're doing so much better than me off screen,
right?
And like you're making me look horrible,
right?
And I
might get it.
Yeah, I also think, I mean, the three of us. Not that whatever you guys, like you guys are amazing comics, but I don't think the three of us, whatever, shut up.
All right.
But
keep it moving.
But the three of us, I don't know that we're like natural performers.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No.
We love writing jokes and we love stand up, but like, if that just happens to be the medium, we have to get up there and say the jokes.
Yes, well, acting is. I mean, look, some great comics are great actors.
Of course.
But a lot of acting is the opposite of comedy. Comedy is like trashing, pretentious, vulnerability, all that shit. And that's our weakness. That's our kryptonite.
I see headshots and I'm like, get over yourself. That's actors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's something to be a good actor, you have to be able to read bad dialogue well and make it, and like we hate bad dialogue.
Yes.
We're more writers than actors, so it's
and you have to like turn that part of your brain off that's like insecure. And some of that insecurity makes you a great comic because you're constantly in turmoil with yourself inside. So if you're an actor, you just don't hear any of that. And you can just be so emotional and vulnerable.
Yeah.
But every moment we're checking ourselves and being like, you can't, what are you, nuts? You can't act like that, you lunatic.
Oh, dude.
But that's what makes you great as a comic, terrible as an actor.
Exactly. I did an audition in L.A. and I went to the play. This is 8 years ago. I was
remember going to auditions?
Oh my! It would take your whole day. You drive around LA in a rental car. It's 8 hours between. You got to go to Malibu. Then you got to go to Santa Monica. Then you got to go to Venice. It was a nightmare. So I had 3 auditions and it took the whole day. So I'm in this little bungalow trailer thing on some lot, and they're like, "Okay, did you get the sides?" I'm like, I didn't get the sides, even though I got them and I never read them. So I was like, I'll wing it. I'll figure it out when I'm there. I get there. They go, okay. And I sat down with an old man, and they gave me the paper, and I read it real quick. He dies next to me. My dad has a heart attack. We're watching a football game, and the dad's like, and I'm like, Dad, get out of here. What are you, crazy? And they're like, get out. Get out. They kicked me out. That's how bad my audition was. I drove all the way there. It took like an hour. 10 seconds, I was gone.
That's so funny.
I can't act like it's sadness.
Right. You want to go, I just met this guy.
Yeah.
You break immediately and you just be like, I just want to be a real person in front of you.
That's comedy.
The situation is hilarious. So Mark having to show emotion.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I would.
Wait, let's try it real quick. Mark, I'm dying right now. This is your friend Sam dying.
Okay.
Let's see if you could do this. This is an acting exercise for Mark. Ready?
All right, what are you, gay? Come on, get it together.
But no one's tried that. Maybe it brings the guy back to life. Nobody knows. He's not wrong.
There you
the
go.
Science isn't there.
What are you, choking on semen? Come on.
Shut up, you prick. All of a sudden you're revived.
Mark,
happens, Sam.
Mark, you're reading for a civil rights lawyer. Mark goes in, you fucking queef. You queef. Fuck you, you queef. Look, that's not even the size. Whoopie, whoopie, whoop, bop, bop. We don't know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have seen, I think both of you for different reasons, like in an audition. Mark for that reason, and Sam for some sort of confrontation that you would find somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Just with somebody who you call a phony.
Well,
I could do that one, I think.
Yeah. I had a call with my what do you call it? The guy who finds you gigs, like the audition guy.
Oh, sure.
The acting
agent?
Commercial agent?
Yeah, one of those
whatever.
guys.
Yeah.
This guy, Dean, really cool guy, slick LA guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, so I want you to know, like, if you don't feel, connected with a role, like if you read it and it doesn't hit home for you, you don't have to do it. Because I was just doing everything to try to be nice.
Totally.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know we could. He's like, no, we want you to just go out for roles you want. I was like, okay. And he should have never told me that, because now every email I'm like, not connecting. I don't even read them anymore. Not connecting.
This one says comedian with a drinking problem. You're like, it's not working for me.
Stretch. Can't do it. I got no range.
It's funny, these agents sometimes, like they're like, you could do this. I'm like, you're a better actor than I am.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's a really good point.
You're believing in me.
Totally.
Right now.
So
You've
true.
been acting the whole time you signed me.
Yeah.
The whole, every email, everything. How are you not doing that? How does it click for you?
It's your agent. You're killing it.
Yeah.
You're killing it. I'm like, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
The amount of times they've said, you're killing it, Adam.
You have the best. Can we tell that agent story?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This is one of the best.
Oh, did I tell you this?
This
oh,
is
yeah.
great.
Oh, man, this is like, so this is, I guess this happened like sometime last year, right? So I write this script, it's getting good feedback from a lot of people. I'm like really excited about it. So I sent it out. People are responding like right away. I sent it to my agent. He doesn't respond for a month. And like, it's so crazy how we're so ingrained that we're like, that's kind of standard, but it's like, that's nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, This is your one job. I gave you a thing that's good. This is your job to sell that thing. You should be so excited. So he doesn't get back to me. And he's like, finally does get back to me. And like, his response was so condescending. He was just like, scripts are hard, but you wrote one. And that's great.
Wow.
That's not even like, that's like subtext. That's like pretty much the email. So
Holy shit.
I'm furious. I want to tell him to fuck off right back. So instead of that, like my writing partner, I mean, you guys know Shacky, so he's writing it with me.
Yeah.
So he's like, don't email your agent that. Just, let off steam, email that to your manager. So I'm like, so I email that to my manager, but I'm also in the email, like making fun of him for like, like it's like agent speak where they're just like, I'm so Jiminy jazzed about like what we're working on these days, my man.
Right.
So like I email my manager back in the way he talks, and then he email him back in the way he talks. So I'm like, man, I'm so super psyched to have you on the project. Like, tell me the lot you want in Malibu. Let's look at real estate right now. Let's get on Zillow. Like that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
So I send that to him, but not knowing that I copied and pasted by accident all the shit talking I was doing to him in the body of that email. So I sent him everything.
Well, what kind of shit are we talking? Like, fuck this guy, or I hate this guy?
A little bit of that, but like more like impersonating him in emails, which is like, I would say even worse.
Do you think he caught it?
Yeah, he read it all.
Of course.
He read it all. So he emails me back. He emails me back and he goes like, hey man, that's great news like about like this network responding to the project, but I don't think you meant to send me all that other stuff that you sent in the email.
Ooh.
And I was like, look, I'm I'm sorry that you had to like read that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not sorry about like any of the any of the actual feelings like in there. But
damn, that's brutal.
But yeah, no, it was I felt it was weird because like I felt at some point like I was like, it's funny, so I was just like, it's like a fun story. I did feel kind of like, all right, this had been going on too long, and I probably would have just let it go on forever.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a way out of it, but I did feel horrible that that's the way he found out. You know what I mean? Like, I even
tough.
like the lowest person in my head, I never want them to be in that position, no matter how much they've wronged me. Like that, I was like, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
But
I had a similar thing happen with an ex-girlfriend. I texted a friend, like, I would come by, but I got to hang out with my dumb girlfriend. It's going to be boring as shit. And I sent it to her. But luckily it was so mean that she thought it was a joke.
Sure. Wow. Oh, that's great.
So I was like, thank God I was mean.
You have to like ham it up even more.
Yeah.
The next three, she's like, this seems pointed and hurtful.
Right.
Dumb bitch. I hate her so much.
Yeah,
what does my mother have to do with this?
Yeah. But I got away with it, thank God. But boy, the feelings you go through of like, how can I reverse this?
Yeah.
Can I go back and do a Superman and spin the earth back? Like, you want to like praying to God for some kind of rewind button.
I felt that for a second, but I think if he was like a better agent, I would have actually felt that. But I think I was more like, hey, I'm like kind of happy he like knows that I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm not happy that that's how he found out, but I am happy.
You
that he
worked hard
knows
in the
that.
script, and it's like you want at least like fake support or something. Not
Yeah.
What about? Can you talk about the show you're doing now, the one-man show?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, ask me, anything you want about that. Yeah, so I started doing that.
Great premise.
It's exciting as hell. This, I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too, man. It's been interesting and completely different to do because, like, we're all like comics that came up in New York, so you're like so many jokes per second. That's how we came up, surviving at open mics that way. So I'm doing this one-man show about my dad who was a made man in a crime family, and I found that out when I was 18. Up until that point, my mom told me that he just died in a car accident. So so at 18 I found that out, and then like 10 or like about 10 years after that, I found out that like he had been in prison for like 5 years. He was like, like a murderer. Like he was like a contract killer. He was a violent hitman.
Italian guy from Jersey? Yeah. All right, just
what
checking.
What are the odds?
Just checking. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Did he have a cool nickname?
He actually didn't have a cool nickname, which I was a little disappointed in. But then I was a little disappointed, but I was also like, all right, that's kind of good that he's not like, that's my father, Knuckles Malone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's still my dad, so I was like, it was kind of a measured, subdued, like, nickname.
Right.
You got the same eyes as the ice pick.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Yeah.
A contract killer. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I mean, obviously there's a lot more to him as a person than that, but those are the things I read in a newspaper.
Whoa.
So it was pretty heavy to find out. So I started like, I wanted to, because I never really talked about this with anybody. Like my mom was like, don't ever talk about this anyway when I was 18 years old, like even friends, whatever. But
for
like,
your safety?
Yeah, for my safety. A little bit of like, she went through it all with him. So like for her, like she knew, I guess, like the stakes of like what he was and what could happen and what could be. But I mean, this is years removed from it, but I also understand her concern.
Of course.
So I never said anything, but then years went by and it's like, man, you hold on to something like that, especially around like, it's like, I didn't tell you guys until recently.
Right.
And
I thought your dad died of cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
For years,
it's like, I don't like lying. Like, I don't like lying in general. You know what I mean? Unless it's like very fun and I'm at a wedding. But like,
I'm a doctor.
Yeah. But like, I hate keeping anything from the people that, I love in my life. So it was like, it was like really hard for me to do. So eventually I was like, I don't want to do that any longer. And especially like comedy in New York, it's like truth is currency, So it's like, I didn't want to do that any longer, so made that decision, and then was like, okay, I'll start talking about him on stage. Just kind of thought this would be a chunk in my act, and then as I was doing it, I was like, yeah, the jokes weren't hitting, and I don't, like, maybe they weren't great jokes, but also it was like, I think people in the audience were like, this is too complicated to just like unpack in a stand-up set.
I have a similar problem.
Yeah.
It's tough. And
right.
You have one of my favorite lines that I think about all the time, about how, when something crazy happens to you, like let's say you get held up at gunpoint or whatever, and people are like, whoa, that's going to be a killer 10 minutes. The pressure to write that is so strong that I can't think of it. Because I can write 20 minutes on like gay sex.
Of course.
Because it's just there.
Yeah.
And you have that joke or that line about like, my mom is dating a black, blind,
right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I've never felt more pressure to write a joke.
Yes.
So you got a punchline about that problem, which I'm so jealous of that line.
It's a very inside comedy joke.
Yeah.
But
that was one like that specifically, because people, where I would tell them that story, they'd be like, you gotta write about this. But everything I had was like, it just felt cosmetic, and I wasn't getting to like the core of what it was. And I think, because I think you do a similar thing where you record and then listen to like what you're like, with jokes you're working on, and everything that I've like heard wasn't hitting. And then that was the line where I was like, oh, this is the only thing that I think like makes sense for the situation. Mm-hmm. So I was like, even if it's more comics that get it, this is like to the bone, where other stuff felt more on the surface.
Right.
So with this show, that's what it felt like, where I was like, oh, I can't just unpack this in like 5 minutes at the end of a set. Mm-hmm. Like this needs to be its own thing.
It's not like the type of, it's too complicated and real. I mean, people are like, you're following someone going, dating's weird. And you're going, my dad was murdered. And they're just like, all right.
Yeah.
Are you on Tinder though? Because we don't understand.
Is your dad on Tinder?
Are you cool?
Yeah.
Is your dad cool?
Well, it's funny, like Rock will do a thing. Chris Rock will do a thing sometimes where he repeats a premise.
Alopecia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He'll keep repeating the premise though, because it's usually a heady premise.
Yes.
And I mean, this is a rich topic for clubs.
Yes, it's and even going back to the Rock thing, I think that's why he's like my favorite and such a master, because he had such heady, smart ideas that he was like saying, he was performing to audiences that normally wouldn't get those.
Right.
So he had to like, he performs the shit out of those in such a way that's probably unnatural to him, but he's smart enough to know, like, well, if I want to get across what I want to get across, it has to be done this way.
Yes.
It's just such an accomplishment as like a writer to performer kind of thing.
I know. It's so hard. It's so hard to write heavy shit and make it accessible and quick and packaged to where it's funny.
Yes.
And they can just eat it up.
And maintain your integrity with the idea. Like, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, to what you're saying, yes. Like, that part of it, that I've never done this before because, like, I'm more of a joke guy than a story guy. But with this, like, I was doing it as, like, more, like, in the vein of, like, a series of stand-up jokes while trying to, like, tell this story. And it just, like, it wasn't working because of the personal nature of the story. And it's a lot of stuff that, like, I've never really talked about before, and especially on stage. So, like, I'm working through it. And I always thought, like, when people said that in, like, such a, like, a esoteric-y kind of way, like, I was like, it's kind of bullshit. But then, like, as I'm doing it, like, I am feeling that, where I'm like, some of the lines, like, I'll say, and for a brief second, I'm not remembering them, I'm saying them.
Whoa.
And I'm like, shit, this is, like, hitting me in the moment, and, like, I'm about to cry, and this is fucked up.
Have you talked about this stuff in therapy before performing it?
Yeah. The minute I plopped down in therapy, because I couldn't talk about this with anybody, so she was like, "Hi, so you're Anthony." I was like, "My dad was a made man in my family," and she was like, "Let me get my pen."
She's like, "This isn't going to be an analyze this situation." They did that line in The Sopranos. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
They did a thing where I don't need to analyze this, dude. So you're talking about this with a therapist. That to me is so interesting because you're trying to work through it as a human, but then you're also You're like, was that funny? That line I just gave you?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's
your dad's thinking, my son's a fucking snitch.
Yeah. That is the interesting thing because it is very heavy, complicated material, but I know that I'm still doing a show.
Yeah.
So it is like there are lines, and especially too because some of the lines are just like they're serious because I'm trying to convey emotion that's not just laughter, only because the moment needs that. Like I wouldn't, if it didn't, I wouldn't. But there's like, I've never wrote that way. So like, you're running the line of like being saccharine. And that's been the challenging part. You know what I mean? Like saying a line that's like effective emotionally, but doesn't seem like I'm purposely trying to be effective.
Yes.
And then, you have those like, I'm like, I don't know if that tag works about like him being in the trunk. You know what I mean? It's like, it's insane to sort of like split your brain into these different places and still be like a human being.
That's crazy.
But this is great because these one-man shows or one-person shows, a lot of them, I feel like they're trying to replicate that feeling part, and you're a good comic, so you have the feelings are real, and you get the great writing. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's getting there. It's just a matter of like, it honestly, I still don't know if it's a one-man show. I don't even know what that is. I just know that it has sad parts. So I'm just saying that so people aren't like disappointed that it's not a full stand-up hour.
Sure.
But like,
that's good. That's okay.
It feels like a more theatery show the way you've broken it down. Like a more one-man showy type of.
Yes, the pace of it, because I approached it just with like, let me just fill it with jokes, and this is a lot to Shaq's credit, who's also directing it, who was like really great at being like, no, like this needs to have an arc. You need to have like a reason that you're doing this. Like he put all the pieces in place that's like, this needs to, we kind of needed to approach this more of like you're writing a pilot than you are writing like a stand-up album.
Oh, wow.
So like you need to like establish a character in the beginning of like, this is who you are. This is why this problem in your life is so difficult, and these are the stakes of that problem.
Right.
And then it goes from there.
Like a Neil Brennan
kind of
thing.
Yes.
I think
exactly.
He's doing a similar piece, like that thing. I think it's called Unacceptable.
Right.
I think it's all about his childhood and all that, but it's an hour, but it's more like this.
What how is your mom dealing with you doing this?
I mean, it's interesting because she always looked at my dad because she knows my dad as like not just whatever you would read in the paper. You know what I mean? Like, and like The Sopranos does this a wonderful job of depicting like people in this life, all sides of them. So like she knows him as this guy who loved to dance and who loved to like go to Broadway and like these sorts of things. So she saw him as like someone who it's like if he wasn't kind of born into this, if he was just given a choice, he might not have done this.
In what ways was he born into it?
I mean, it is
because you're born into it.
Yeah. Like you're, if you grow up around it or raised in it, you're gonna be you're gonna be more susceptible to falling in line.
Was his dad a made
yes,
man?
yeah. So his the surrounding element to him was all in it. So it's like, even if people want to say like you always have a choice, but it's like you kind of don't if it's just that's completely your environment. So my mom, for him, she was like, oh, I know him as this other version. So for me, if she stopped me from doing a thing that I wanted to do to express myself, she would be doing to me what was done to him.
Gotcha.
So in that way, she kind of didn't want to, I guess, make in her head that same mistake. So for her, she was like, I can't stop you from doing this, but she does, everything is run by her.
Wow.
Does she laugh at it?
Yeah, she thinks, she contributes. And that's I'll say that's the hardest part. I mean, it's kind of, I talk about it in the show a little bit, but I have to my mom pitches me jokes for the show, and I have to be like, yeah, man, we can't do that.
You got to put in he had a small dick. Put that in there.
No, she literally said stuff like that. My mom is constantly trying to work in the movie Ocean's 11. It's very difficult to turn these things down.
Wait, can I ask I got a million mob questions.
Man, just ask whatever you want.
All right, so you grew up, you didn't know he was in the mob till you were 18, you said? Okay. Yeah. So you guys must have been pretty well off. I mean, if he's a made guy, he must have been bringing in big change.
No, he's also a gambler. So a lot of that goes out the window a little bit.
Okay.
So no. My family. It's my house is my mom, my great grandma, my grandma, and my youngest aunt.
Holy
so it was
shit.
It was like those people who lived in a shoe.
Yeah. A lot of estrogen too.
A lot of estrogen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he hate you? Not hate you, but was he like, my son's a puss?
No, he was. He was dead when I was born.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. He died when I was born, so I would have no idea. But for what my mom has said of him, he was kind of like a song and dance kind of guy.
Ah.
And they would go to Dangerfields all the time.
Really?
Yes, because Dangerfields back then was the spot. It hasn't, now it's gone, but it hadn't really changed since then.
Right.
But so they would go to Dangerfields. He loved comedy.
Wow.
So there is that thing of I think he would be proud. If anything, it would be awkward if he's in the crowd.
Right.
There's a gun on a table. But yeah, so I don't know, but I do think he would be proud of me in that aspect. And it's man, if you're in that and real tough guys don't need to be tough all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You just kind of, it's there when you need it. And that's what really separates.
You don't have to tell us, dude.
Yeah. No, who am I talking to? It's like a fight club in here. It's like a UFC locker room. But so many people that posture so much, it's well, they're not going to do anything. Yeah. But the people, and this isn't true all the time, but the people that are oh, I know I have this in me and I'll just let it out when I have to, it's those are the people you generally have to worry about.
Right.
And from what my mom describes, he was of that ilk. So I don't think he would be my son's a pussy as much as he would be oh yeah, he doesn't when he doesn't need to, but if something happened, maybe he would. You know what I mean?
Okay. Did he have a temper?
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, no, and I have a temper as well. Yeah. So there are qualities and knowing that too is interesting, and I think that's why
you say you have a temper, but you're a pretty calm guy though.
I'm pretty calm, but if I flip, it's embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? Where you're because I'm not used to anger. So when it happens, it's I'm a new person at it.
Well, do you feel like you bottle a lot of it up, maybe to?
I think I do. We were talking yesterday. I was I have a night guard, so I must. You know what I mean? Something is happening that I'm not. Because I grind my teeth.
No, it's a big Italian guy outside his apartment.
They call him Vinny Night Guard.
Do you need dental work? So you have a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, I do, but yeah, he was more, my mom would say, he would get a look in his eyes. And when he got that look in his eyes, that's when you were you got to get away from him. Because after that, it's red after that. And growing up, I'm luckily for me, I didn't grow past 5'6", right? I think if I was bigger, I might have had more of the qualities I had when I was younger, which is yes, I was very quick to snap. And if I did, it was read. Like, I fought a kid for a whole year when we were in 3rd grade. Like, they would lock us. They would lock us in the coat room and shut the lights, and I would just go at this kid who was like way bigger than me.
Really?
Because like I do have this streak in me, and I think that's why I am very tempered as well. Because I know it's there, but I also know my like demeanor, and I know that if I have this like sort of like kill or be killed mentality at my size, I'll be killed.
Right.
So I think it's also like I'm very aware also of like just my size.
Yeah. Well, we got your nickname. It's Anthony the 3rd grader.
We Might Be Drunk is thrilled to welcome our new sponsor, Fanimal. I love live events. I hate buying tickets. The hidden fees suck, and coordinating with your friends is a nightmare. They're garbage. I always end up fronting a bunch of money and chasing down my friends to get reimbursed. Not me personally, because I'm very generous.
Oh, yeah.
But if they flake, I'm stuck with the whole bill. And then I discovered Fanimal. Fanimal has tickets to everything. There's no fees. The price you see is the price you pay. That's pretty big, honestly.
Yeah.
Not only are those prices transparent, but they're almost always lower than anywhere else I look. And for any hot ticket like Coachella, a Laker game, or Dave Chappelle, Fanimal is always the cheapest option. Nobody goes to live events anymore, so why buy tickets alone? Fanimal, although if you do come to a show alone, there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. I love that. Someone tweeted me about that the other day. They're like, is it weird? My friends bail. Is it weird if I come alone? I said, no, dude, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And you know what? The guy made new friends at the show.
There
he tweeted me after. He's like, I sat with these guys, and they were tweeting me too. So you end up having a great time no matter what. Fanimal's patented group purchase makes it easy. First, you set a minimum size for your group, and you choose the number of tickets you want to pay for yourself. Then you invite friends. When the minimum size is met, everyone gets charged and receives their ticket. If the minimum size isn't reached in time, nobody gets charged. You don't commit until your friends do. Tell them how. I called you March. March Normand. Tell them how to do it.
Oh, yeah, and Fanimal has amazing customer service. Don't take my word for it. Check out their hundreds of 5-star reviews. The next time you need tickets, go to Fanimal.com and sign up with code DRUNK for 20% of credit, $20 of credit towards your first purchase. We drink on this show. Check out Fanimal and experience more. Support the show and get $20 off your first purchase with the code DRUNK at Fanimal.com, Fanimal.com. Get on it. Hey, We Might Be Drunk is brought to you by Lucy. You're a responsible consumer and you want a responsible way to consume your nicotine, don't you? Well, if you're looking for nicotine gum, lozenges, or pouches to use nicotine to relax, focus, or just unwind after a long day, there's only one stop you should make. Lucy. I like this stuff. The gum tastes great. I prefer the lozenges because you can just throw them in. You're not smacking around town with the chewing. So get on it. Plus, it just tastes good. And it gives you a little jolt, that nicotine. Yeah? Oh, yeah. It gives you a kick. If I'm hungover, I pop one of those in and I'm like, woo-wee. Pretty good.
It's the least healthy endorsement of all time.
Also, if you're going to the casino, you're hitting the slots, just chew the gum and you get the nicotine without having to kill your lungs. So you've been looking for an alternative to smoking. Why not switch to a nicotine product that can actually make you feel good and feel good about doing it? Tell them how, fatty!
If you enjoy using nicotine, you should definitely check out Lucy's products at lucy.co. That's lucy.co. Promo code DRUNK at checkout. Also, I have to read this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Remember, if you're interested in a better way to use nicotine, visit lucy.co and be sure to use that promo code DRUNK.
Mm-hmm. Hear, hear.
Was there ever any temptation for that type of life for you? Was there ever a point where you're like, well, maybe I am my dad's kid, No,
I mean, I think like after the fact, I would think that if I ever got to that point where I was like really mad and like I couldn't see out of my anger. But, like, otherwise, no, because I was too far gone, you know what I mean? Like, my mom did do a great job of, like, keeping me so far away from it until having to tell me at 18. Like, it's like I wasn't allowed to watch The Godfather growing up. Like, I didn't see that until I was, like, 30.
Wow.
Because because that story is basically about a guy who's outside of things and then gets pulled into the business and then becomes, and he's
You're
kind
Michael
of this,
in
like,
that scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, man, it took me until like a couple of years ago until like I watched The Sopranos. Because it's like, I mean, they shot the last scene in my hometown.
Damn.
So it's like, it's very real in some ways. And real I mean, realer for my mom because she went through it. Realer to me just because it's like the attachment is different. Like when I see Tony Soprano, I see my father, and I can't not separate that. And like in the lowest moments, you go, oh, this is hilarious. They're burying a body in the woods. These are characters.
Yeah.
But I go, that's my fucking dad.
Damn.
So it's like, so it's always been like heavier for me. And it's not to say I don't love the show. And I think the show is like done this amazing job with nuance with like these lives. But like that's part of the show is being like, hey, like I'm not saying you're wrong for thinking all this stuff is cool. I just can't agree with you until you know everything about me. That's really it.
Well said.
Here.
That's interesting. I mean, and it would be weird if you could just separate that.
Totally. It'd be nuts if I was like, isn't it hilarious? Like it's like that would be crazy if I was that detached.
Do you know, and this is a little queefy here, but do you know how he died?
Yeah, I mean, he was. Yeah,
Is that giving away too much?
No,
preface that with this is queefy.
Wow, I mean,
funny.
You're not exactly on fresh air here.
This might be a little queefy. Do you know how your dad died?
Is it a little? I don't know if this is too spicy.
No,
or
it's
too
not
dicey,
spicy.
or too. What's the word? Third rail. What? I don't know the term here. What am I looking for? I don't know if this is too. Provocative? I don't know.
Personal?
There you go.
Personal's good.
All right, personal. I like it.
I like spicy, but old Sam, the book reader, has made us say personal.
Yes.
No, it's not at all. No, he was. He was found in the trunk in Manhattan.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, he made it to the big city, at least. But damn, the
He's
trunk.
fine, man. Don't worry.
So on the nose, it's so mob.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that, exactly. And it is pretty funny because, like, sometimes people just guess it and then I just have to say yes. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm like, was he found in the trunk? And I'm like, how did you know? Like, it's very awkward.
I mean, that's horrible for your mother. I can't imagine, like, were they on good or bad terms when this happened?
They had just had me 7 months ago, but.
Damn.
And he did 5 years in prison,
He did 5 years in prison, but he said a thing going into prison which kind of made, like, my mom every time, you get these little hints along the way of like the severity of what he's doing. But my mom, like I said, she knew him as this like very loving and warm person, and he was, But before he went to prison, he was like, if you cheat on me while you're in there, I'll kill one of your sisters.
Damn.
So it was like, that was the moment where she was like,
I've had women say that to me, though.
yeah,
That's not a big
pretty. I've seen this at the Fat Place. But like that was a moment for her when she was like, oh, I have to give up. You know what I mean? I have to give up on him. So at that point, I mean, they weren't on good terms, but it was still like, hey man, this is her husband. And when you have a child, things do like that clouds you a little bit.
Sure.
So I'm sure she was like, it probably was like a lot of ambivalence. And then, but like when this happens, it's so gruesome and horrific that it's like, no matter what, you hearken back to the moments when you like knew this person as like alive and bubbly and joyful and warm and all these other things. So it's like, it's like, I mean, so that the show really, her story drives the show. Like that's like, not to get too technical, but it's like, that's the A plot. And then the B plot are the parallels in my life, which feed into her story.
Right.
With like running themes behind it. But like really the show is about her. Like I purposely don't say his name. I mean, I don't say his name in the show for like obvious reasons, but I don't say his name because it's like, I want people to take away that like, this is my story about my relationship with my father and who he was, obviously, and that's why people are there. But at the end of the day, like this is her story and like the strength she showed and everything that like she went through.
Well, there
and she
you
protected
go.
you from that.
Yes.
From that life.
Yeah. She, and this is one of her lines. She said, when he died, it was a chance for us to escape their world. And she goes, we need to call the show The Great Escape.
That's cute.
I got a better one. Godfather 4.
Yeah. Now, was there any attempt, and I'm sure your mom probably cock-blocked this, but was there any attempt from the old boys out there to try to get you in?
No, I don't think. I'm sure if they watch my clips, they'd be like, "There's no chance with this guy."
We've been hearing stuff about you knocking up as a third grader.
Yeah.
We could use you in this. We could use a young guy with your pep.
Yeah, we need a Rudy.
Yeah.
No, man, I don't think so. I mean, I think it was so long ago, and like, some of them we are friends like on social media and stuff, and like,
Wait, what?
Like younger family members, and like they have families, like they seem, you know what I mean? Like the point of the show is like the point of the show is honestly to show him in a light of like, you think you know these people, but like they are like multifaceted, like as we all are, but like my dad, because like for me, when I learned that about like the trunk and the murder and like this and that, I was ashamed of him. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, like, that's your father. You know what I mean? It's not entertainment. It's your dad. So it's very different.
Of course.
And then, obviously, like you were saying, like, these movies, like, they hold so much for us in terms of, like, entertainment value. Mm-hmm. So people immediately would be like, that's so cool. Sammy the Bull, this or that. And I would, like, it was hard because I was like, this is my dad. I feel very differently about this because it's so personal to me.
Yeah.
So, like, the show to me is to, like, find a way to love my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of it, it's like kind of an examination of like, what is a good person and what is a bad person, and being like, he's all these things, but I choose to love him for these other things, even despite, all this other stuff.
Wow.
And like, that's in all of us, you know what I mean? I said duty booty duty during an audition. I'm not a saint, you know what I mean?
You're still a good person. I
Yeah.
put shit in perspective because I'm ashamed of my dad for he wears socks with sandals. Fucking upsets me. Like, come on, black socks? What are you doing? But everybody's different.
If this was E, that would be more of a crime.
Yeah, man, that's it's so interesting. I mean, you did a great job on This American Life.
Yes.
You did an episode about your grandma.
Yes, that was about my grandma finding love in the nursing home. Like this blind black guy, one leg that she met. And like my grandma was someone who swore completely off love. My grandfather lived in the living room my whole childhood.
Wow.
She banished him to the living room. So there was like a lot there.
And you thought he was the tenant.
I thought he was the tenant. My whole family called him the tenant.
No.
Yeah, they joked around and they were like, that's a tenant. And when you're a kid, you just take everything your family says as face value.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, the tenant. And then, like, when you have a friend come over for the first time, that's when you're like, things might be fucked up around here. So my friend John, he's looking around the room and he gets to this, like, there's a guy in the living room, no shirt on, sweatpants, eating a waffle. And he's like, who's that guy? And I was like, that's the tenant. And he was like, what's a tenant? And I was like, I don't really know what that is. I asked my mom about it that night. She was like, that's not the tenant. That's your grandfather.
Wow.
And they just didn't think that they had to, like, disclose that information. But for my mom, she was like, I was hoping you never asked because I didn't want you to know that's what could happen in a marriage. So he cheated on my grandmother in the 60s. She never forgave him. He wouldn't leave the house that was in his name. She wouldn't spend money on a divorce, so she just banished him to the living room, marked all the food in the fridge, not for John, except for the waffles. And that was it.
That's incredible.
There were never good times between them ever again?
No. They were...
Damn.
This is the other thing with him. So he died, and he didn't just cheat on her. He had a whole other family in the Bronx. So I think I have, like, Puerto Rican cousins I don't really know about. So, and this was I just think it's so funny. On his deathbed, and my mom found this out on his deathbed in the hospital. She went to go see him, and there was this like Puerto Rican woman on his bed, and my mom goes, are you his nurse? And she goes, I'm his wife.
Oh.
And she goes, who are you? And my mom goes, I'm his daughter.
Oh, shit.
And my grandfather the whole time went, I don't know who she is.
Wow.
Just pled complete ignorance.
Damn.
And then the funeral director walked in like, you know Jimmy Waffles?
He's like, I don't know that guy.
That is crazy.
He
That's
died.
insane.
My grandmother opened a Coors Light, just drank it, smiled, and said, where do you want to celebrate?
That's
Wow.
old school.
Yeah.
Damn.
Old school, tough as nails, Jersey Italian woman.
And some weird product placement for Coors Light in this episode.
Hey, I have to
Tap
get them
the
in
Rockies.
somehow.
Yeah. Not grandma. That's over. Damn.
So your grandma met a guy in the nursing home who was
Yes.
much younger.
Yes, it was a quarter her age. So I believe when she met him, she was 90 and he was 62.
Oh, okay.
And my grandmother too. I mean, like, she's an Italian woman from Jersey. Like, her politics are racist. And met him first. Honestly, I think like the first black guy she ever like talked to,
Right.
and was like, "Oh, I was wrong about everything." And then, like, I mean,
the
retroactively.
geriatric Bronx Tale right here.
Yeah, man. Retroactively claimed she voted for Obama. So I was like, you're a registered Republican. It's like not even possible.
Also, what's that, a 32-year age gap
Yes.
there? That doesn't fly. That's a lot different when you're 90.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, than when you're 40.
Either way, it's gross.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's so funny. All these, like, Texios are pointing to that story. And they're like, it's fine when they do it, though.
So that's crazy. And they got married?
They no, the problem was they were going to get married, but it would mess up their Medicaid stuff. So we couldn't have them married because it would mess up like the paperwork to keep her in the nursing home because it was so expensive. And
So she's not an honest woman? Come on.
Yeah.
Appalling.
We don't, we were all ashamed of her as a sinner. But so what happened too? So we couldn't do it because of the paperwork, but then he was like, well, Frank, her, then fiance at the time, was like, I want to get married, but he wasn't his own legal guardian. His brother was. His brother met my grandmother and went, you can't marry this woman.
Damn.
Which I always think is like so funny that it's like, she's 90 years old,
Yeah.
and he's like, you could do better. He has one leg, and he's blind. And he was like, not her.
Damn.
Which I respected, though. I mean, my grandma was a pill. I love her.
There's so much here.
Is this stuff going to be this will be in the one-man show too?
So this stuff is in the one-man show. And that's what I mean. It's like a lot of these like bridge stories that are like piggybacking off one another. And like that's been a hard part too, because like I can't really pull elements because it's so long and it's pretty self-contained to like pull elements of this to do in like a club set. It like doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's
No
a
way.
lot to throw
Yeah.
at an audience.
It's too much, and I get that.
Yeah, but that does suck.
Yeah, so I have to do it in its entire. Like that's the only way I can work
it's the
on it, is
only
like
way.
doing it.
Well,
in
New
its
York
entirety
comedy, you're
places.
following like bam, bam, bam. It's following
man.
just people like playing the hits, and then
Yeah.
it's like very hard to find out, to like figure out a story.
Yes.
up
It
there.
is.
A story with such depth and
Totally, man.
characters.
I'll be at a bar and people are like, do you do that on stage? I'll be telling some crazy story. And I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? I'm like, it bombs. And people hate it. They're bored.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
confused.
you're on the road enough that you could figure that stuff out. I think from your
Probably.
crowd. I think it's just tough to figure it out in the city. That's when it's like,
Yes.
Yeah.
So true.
There's short spots, and the rhythm of everybody's sets are short because
Yep.
the spots are short.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, New York is like, man, it's an impatient town.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so like
yeah.
the audiences are so savvy for comedy right away, and also like they know the pace of it. So if
Yeah.
you don't have a joke every second, like you're toast up there.
oh, it's not
Toast.
just the jokes. It's like it's ordering a sandwich.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
beating around the bush, the guy's like, get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even walking. You ever have a guy stop
Oh.
to like read a plaque? You're like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
man?
Go back to Iowa.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, I grew up in
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
I know. Like, keep it moving, you hayseed.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody here is mad at whoever they see because that's potential space they no longer have.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like everybody they see, you're like, you're what's keeping me from shopping at Trader Joe's on a Saturday.
Right.
If you weren't here, I could do that.
Dude,
So I'm furious at you.
I had this today, and I'm not trying to sound like a chooch here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm walking to the train to come here, and I'm kind of hustling, and a homeless guy goes, "Can I get some change?" And I go, fuck it, and I go for the change, and pull it out, my keys come out, the keys hit the ground, I drop the change. So now me and the hobo are doing the whole change dance. I'm like trying to help him pick it up. I go, all right, you're on your own. I leave. I see the train go by, and I'm like, if I hadn't helped that hobo, I would have caught that train. And so I'm done with hobos. No
Yeah,
more
man.
money for you. But that's how this city is.
It warps whatever humanity you had just
Yes.
because like everything's laid, everything. Oh man,
Mark
yeah.
jumps back
Totally.
over the turnstile, starts fucking wailing on the guy. Piece of
That's
shit.
what you get.
Yeah, give me that nickel back.
He misses another train. He's like, fuck, if I didn't beat the shit out of him.
People watching are like, oh, marital dispute. Everyone's like so progressive.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I can't wait to see this show. I think it's going to be amazing. And you have an album of different stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And a special.
Wow.
Yes.
When's the special out next week, right?
I have a stand-up special that's out May 26th on my YouTube page. So whoever's listening to this, for the love of God, subscribe to my YouTube
We
channel.
love
because I got
Anthony.
nobody.
He's great. We're joke snobs. We love him.
Yep.
Dream Occupation, another great album. You've seen his
Yes.
half-hour specials. You've seen him on Colbert. Follow his Instagram. You'll see the clips and everything. It's
Yeah.
you really got to get on it.
You're Twitter's great too. A lot of jokes.
Thanks, man,
the clips are great.
Yeah, that's you guys, man. Out of the pandemic, I just saw that you guys have fans now, and it was a lot. In fact, due to like the clips. I mean, I fought it for years because I was
Me too.
this is anti-con. Whatever I thought, whatever in my precious head that I thought. But now I see it as like, no, it's kind of the way. So
it's another job, but
it's another job, but it's worth it. After I saw sort of what you guys have with it, so it's a lot due to you guys. And I don't want to try to.
And we write a lot of jokes, all three of us. So like we have a backlog.
Yes.
So now we have shit to post where I don't know if everyone has that backlog.
Yeah.
It's made for us. I mean, it's perfect
really
for us,
is,
but it is a bitch to do it.
Do you have any peeves? I know it's weird to go from all this heavy stuff to just like light peeve. But it's maybe a way to
murdering fathers is really a
No. I thought of something. I'm just trying to remember it now. It had something to do with like tech people or like corporations. Hang on. Do you mind? You don't mind if I look at my phone for a second?
No. Look at the phone.
Okay,
look at the phone.
You got anything?
Well, I just want to relate because I have a fucked up childhood, and people always go, "You got to talk about it." But maybe a one-person show or whatever you're calling it is the.
That might be that might be great for you.
I got a transvestite nanny growing up, like a big black guy in a wig, a cross-dressing nanny.
Yeah,
and
way ahead of your time.
Yes.
I mean, that's wild.
In New Orleans in the 90s, and the house with the robberies and the dilapidated. So I'm like, this is inspiring to me.
Yeah. I mean, also, too, like, it is good. I mean, like, in general, to be like, because, you know your voice as you do comedy. So, like, not to say you become a whatever, but, like, you know how you're going to do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to do something that's so out of the realm of what you normally do, it's possible that you actually like grow as a stand-up from it. I don't know that I'm seeing any of that growth just yet, but I'm like optimistic. You know what I mean?
I completely agree. It's like Bill Burr says, if you can't go left, go left. Learn it.
Right.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Great Tony V quote years ago. I think it might have been Bill Burr. I don't know. Tony V's like this Boston legend guy, killer comic, older guy. And Bill Burr goes, Tony, he's like a year in. He's like, I love doing comedy. I love writing jokes, but I hate this network shit. I hate the glad handing and all that. I don't know how to do that shit. And Tony just goes, get good at it. And that was it. And he's like, oh, yeah. You can't just like, I don't like this, so I'm not doing it. It's like, no, do it.
Blunt is right. I remember I saw a comic complain to Attell once about like not, it's like, it's not working for me. And Attell just goes, get funnier.
Yeah.
Not in a way like you're not funny.
Right.
It was a comic he likes a lot, but Attell was just being like, what else is there to do? It was kind of like,
that's
doesn't get
it.
any blunter or realer than that.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, because it's like, well, worst comes to worst, you just get great at this thing. You know what I mean? Instead of blaming a bunch of stuff.
Oh, my God.
Worst case scenario, you don't get all the things you want, but you became great at this thing.
Yes.
So fine.
That's definitely not the worst case scenario.
But you know what I mean? All right, like dead in a gutter, sure.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. But how much of that Facebook shit do you see of like this guy and that guy and you're like, yeah, but you still suck. Right. At the end of the day, even if we gave everything to you, you would still bomb.
Right.
So get better.
And I think that's better too, as just like a mindset as a comic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you guys are, but like I work better when I have like a healthy chip on my shoulder, or I position myself as like the underdog.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So if I can say to myself, oh, I just need to get funnier, not in a desperate way, but just in a way that's like, oh, that'll make me work harder. Like, that's always better.
Oh, yeah. I know a comic. He's pretty funny. He's pretty good. We all know him. But every show he gets off stage and goes, the crowd's a little whatever. The crowd's not great. They're a little tight. They're a little weird. And then other people will kill. And you're like, you got to start internalizing this. You got to stop just every time you're going to blame the crowd if they're not amazing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and it's like, even if that's real...
There is that. I'm not saying there's not bad crowds, but every time...
But even if that's real, it's like, oh, man, it's like better if you go, oh, I'll be better than they are bad.
Exactly.
You know?
That's
exactly.
a dude or woman who's scared of success, who does that.
Say it again?
That's someone who's scared of success.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Because if you can't just be like, they're good.
Right.
You're blaming them, which means I think you're not dealing with other shit.
Interesting.
When you're blaming the audience.
Yeah. Well, he's not successful, so he's doing great.
Yeah. It's like we all do it in the heat of the moment because it's like a visceral reaction. But it's like, Yeah, like that's so much better if you go, oh yeah, I'll. It doesn't matter who they are or what they are. I'll figure something out to get something out of them.
Totally.
But, it's easier said than done, obviously.
Yeah, it is. It hurts, but you got to do it.
But man, my pet peeve.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just says coffee snobs. I know what this is.
Coffee
Coffee
snobs.
snobs. Come on. What are we
I
talking
get so
here?
intimidated because I was like, but these like coffee shops, I think what it is like they have so much coffee stuff around them that I'm like, oh, they know so much about coffee. So whatever I order, they're judging my order. And they make me feel stupid. But I think this is probably more just my own projection.
Yeah.
But I think everything I say, like if I'm like, I'll take a red eye, they're like, you would.
Yeah.
Just snobs in general.
Yeah. And I think it's because they have so like, and it could all be for show, those like Chemex things and like all the the bullshit that they have. But I go, these are experts. And I feel like such a novice. And it's just a drink.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Right.
It makes me so angry.
I feel the same way. You know what bugs me more than that is like them thinking that I think I know what I'm talking about when
Sure.
they can tell I can't. So my opener is always like, I don't know shit.
Right.
Whatever you recommend. Like same with wine. I'm like, I don't know shit.
Yes.
But whatever you think, Although
Yeah.
I will take chances on we did a few episodes with the natural wine, and it's funky and it's weird.
It's great.
and
Yeah?
it's fun to get drunk on.
I
It
like
really
that
is.
natural shit.
Yeah,
It's
are
like-
you guys developing more of a palate? Just
I wouldn't
from
say
doing
that. I didn't mean to give you any indication that we're not trash.
Yeah.
I like
Sam Allier?
Hey,
My
that's
D-
a
Could be a shirt.
episode title.
That's my DJ name. But I do like getting drunk on wine is kind of fun. It's a different
Yeah. Oh,
it's
drunk. I
great.
mean, it's
Oh,
like
yeah, man.
whiskey is like a more intense.
Yes.
Tequila is a little more of like, but wine, you're just silly.
Loose.
You're loose and
Yeah.
silly, and you might slip. It's funny. It's
fun.
weird.
I'll dance.
I'll fucking
Yeah.
dance.
The floor seems wet.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
You're loosey goosey. Yeah,
Totally, man.
I like how you're like, did you guys get your palate better? I'm like, we're drinking rum and cokes. It's gonna be a more basic drink.
But yeah, I think there's some stuff, I guess. I think rum and coke was drunk. Like a lot of adults drank rum and cokes around me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I associate that with like, that's an adult drink. Even though it's like, it's for real estate agents who aren't doing well.
Yeah.
Or like, whatever. But in my head, I'll never stop that like little kid brain of like, this is what the sophisticated adults drink, a rum and coke.
I can't take rum seriously. To me, rum
Yeah?
is like beachy, pina colada-y.
Totally.
But yeah, I just never touch rum, really.
It's not for me. Although I think Hemingway was a big rum guy. I think he was a big everything guy.
But he was
Yeah.
also he was like on the beach guy. He was like Key
True.
West and Jamaica, Cuba.
He was like a linen guy. You know what
Yes.
I mean? He could wear one of those like straw hats and like you
Right.
kind of wouldn't question it. Those guys where you're like, anybody else I would think is a douche, but for you, I feel like you're important.
I feel like good rum though is the shit. I feel like if you have really
Yeah.
good rum and it's
Yeah.
just like on the rocks.
Oh,
but I
yeah.
just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I would never do
Yeah.
rum on the rock. But
The,
yeah.
the romance of rum I like. The fact that
Yes.
it's like a pirate drink. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love that. And I could fool myself for one sip, with going like,
Yep.
this is what you drink on a wooden boat. But
Right.
after 2 sips, I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Also,
Absolutely hate
then you
this.
break it down. You're like, what's worse than being drunk at sea?
It's true.
Ooh.
You're
Yeah.
just nauseous. You feel like shit.
true.
You got to deal with pirates.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're so angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you could trace it back to the rum. And it's like, maybe if you eliminated the rum, you wouldn't swindle so much. You get a real job on land.
That's the bar fight of the sea. Is you're just getting hijacked.
Yes.
That sucks.
Oh,
It's true.
absolutely.
Good point.
I can't believe that dismount and mounting onto a ship had to be such an uncomfortable part of the robbery. Do you know what I mean? None of it's swift.
No.
But
But
it's clunky.
they make it look swift with the swinging off the whatever,
do.
or you land on it and you got the sword in your mouth, or you go down the curtain, with the sword or the
Yes,
sail.
That's a fun one.
I'd fuck it up so hard, I'd be bleeding from my lips. Like,
yeah.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, reality, you have like one leg over the ship. It's like
Yeah.
they're helping you on. Like it's
Right.
it's like lumbered.
You know why they do the eye patch?
Why?
It's not an eye missing, it's depth perception. Because when you sail, you got to know the bow and the starboard and all this shit, so it helps them.
Ah.
Weird.
They actually have a working eye. It's just
Wow.
something with nautical bullshit.
I'll tell you what it doesn't help
Wow.
with, though. If someone tries to punch you from the right.
Yeah.
Like, man, that eye patch really sucked.
Right,
You are
right.
sacrificing that. Yeah. You're going to get a lot of right hooks.
You know what else? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, the plank I never got either. Because
Sure.
it's like this 6-foot wooden beam that they push you out on. It's guys
Silly.
handcuffed or whatever, and they go, and then you jump. Like, you could just push them over. Like, why do we need the plank aspect?
I don't know.
I guess it's anticipation,
That's
drama.
their entertainment.
I guess so.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's the life of a pirate. What they find entertaining is killing a man.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, write a story.
Yeah.
Have a journal. Instead, they're like, you know what we find fun? If we eliminate Mark in the open sea.
Well, they also said, man, you get so crazy out there. It's sunshine, rum.
I know exactly where you're headed.
Manatee.
Yep. Yeah.
Mermaid.
Yep.
That's how horny they were.
They banged these manatees.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah. How nuts is that?
Yeah.
That's beyond prison gay.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Manatee sexual?
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
whole nother thing of isolation.
Yeah.
It ain't womanatee.
I mean, animal sex is definitely worse than prison sex. I think.
Look up. Maybe the eye patch was the sunlight. You go to the bottom deck and it's dark. It was something with eye adjustment. Give that a go.
No, that makes sense.
I don't want to get that wrong. Have a bunch of pirates come at me.
Well, sure. Today's pirates.
Yeah.
Very less festive.
Yes. A lot of cargo.
Less communal singing.
Oh, below deck. Okay, there you go. Yeah, less yo ho ho and all that shit. Less parrots for sure.
Those parrots.
Yeah, the poor parrot that got wrangled in with these criminals. You
I know.
He didn't want this life.
No.
Yeah. You're a
Turned me.
colorful bird.
Yeah.
Why not get a street pigeon? Those things already, they look like the criminals of the bird world.
That's true. Great. One time, I think I've said this on the pod, but Will Sylvince was like annoying Dave Attell, like from the crowd, like trying to get some attention. And, Will's this short, skinny black guy with a big beard, and Dave Attell goes, "Easy, Captain Phillips." Gets me every time.
You know what it is, man? He's so fast and his voice is so silly, you don't have a chance to be hurt. Do you know what I mean?
No chance.
Dude, Dave Chappelle, he called...
Attell.
Sorry.
Big diff.
Big difference. Big difference. Attell, once he said he called hummus terrorist peanut butter.
Oh, man.
Made me laugh so
lost
hard.
it. I remember that, too. I lost it.
Man, it's so funny.
The best.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a nip.
Do a nip.
All this pirate talk's getting me a little...
yeah.
And by the way,
thirsty.
I know we're talking about, this is whiskey, not rum.
Oh, shit,
we
right.
got rum last week as a gift on a Patreon, but
Oh, yeah, whiskey coke.
Elijah Craig is whiskey.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good whiskey.
Do you guys have your bottle of booze coming out yet, or is that something
I mean, this is a pre.
Okay.
This is a pre. We're backlogging episodes here because we're going away. But I mean, hopefully it's out by now.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Maybe we'll do like
That's
a
cool.
promo before an episode or something if it comes out. But
Pretty cool,
I'm
man.
fucking pumped. I can't wait for that.
Can't wait. I just love the idea of having our own booze.
We're in the spirits game, dude.
Yeah, dude, you guys are in the spirits game. Are you gonna do? It'd be fun if you did like a mock commercial kind of.
Oh
for
yeah,
it.
I mean,
you
we're
know what I
doing
mean?
ads.
like
We're
a
doing.
Di Serono
Yes.
parody.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
Can't be too silly. People need to know we actually have a whiskey out.
That's true.
If we go too silly, they're gonna be like, "Well, this is a joke."
Right.
You get Simon Rex in there. People are gonna know it's legit. All right.
That's not bad.
Let's do it, dude.
Yeah, that would be fun, man. Like those old school, like Di Serono, like Chivas Regal, like
Yes.
you know when like alcohol commercials like blur the lines of like cologne commercials where you're like, this is like an art film. This
Right.
is like
It's so dramatic. I got an idea. We go real dramatic, real artsy, and then we pull back and we're driving. So we're drinking
that's
and driving.
great.
That's good.
All right.
That's
I got
really
something.
funny, dude.
But you can't put that on TV.
And then it's just the car just jumps off a fucking bridge
Yes.
and crashes and explodes.
we show that Tesla footage, with that big jump that he did.
Hell yeah!
That's
Well,
really,
we
really
plug
funny.
where you're gonna be coming up.
Man, yeah. Thanks for bringing up dates. Man. Oh, I'll be at Moon Tower. That's pretty good.
Oh, I'll see you
if
there.
you're
This is
this is
that's
coming up in May. I mean,
15th.
honestly, the thing I really want to plug is the May 26th. My special will be dropping on my YouTube page called Brain Noise, a stand-up special. Please subscribe to me on YouTube, and follow me on Instagram at comedian Anthony DeVito. And
Hell yeah.
TikTok as well. Thank you.
It's gonna be great.
Are you
dude.
opening for Ari at the KC Improv?
And I'm opening for Ari at the Kansas City Improv
Good club.
May 21st and 22nd. So that
Harbor-
should be a lot of
Harbor
fun.
Square Theater.
Oh, yeah, and then I'm doing the one-man show in D.C.
Oh,
at the
shit,
Comedy
what the
Loft
hell are you
on
doing?
June 8th. Man,
This is
I
all
always
good
Trying
forget.
to sell tickets.
You know, in the
for you.
moment I get flustered, and then, I get...
All right, boy, you're going to blow Ari off the stage, huh?
No, man.
Just kidding, Ari. He's old. He's getting old.
We got Albany, Nashville. I don't know if I've already been to Nashville. Toronto, Rhode Island, special taping in Chicago, Tampa, Cleveland, Houston, West Palm, Buffalo, San Jose, all over that shit. SamRel.com/shows.
Hell yeah. San Jose, that's a big room. When am I in Chicago? Am I touching up on your date there at all? Okay, just checking. I'm this weekend I'm at Bricktown Comedy Club in Oklahoma City. Good room. Then I'm San Jose's, I think, canceled, sorry. Stand Up Live in Huntsville, Alabama. Pantages Theater in Minneapolis. Chicago, June 17th. All right, that gives us a little buffer. And then
1 week.
1 week. I'm doing the Burt shows. Look up fullyloadedfest.com, I believe it is. And then Irvine Improv. I need you to come out. That's a big room as well. Red Bank, New Jersey, DeVito's home state.
Hell yeah, man.
Houston Improv. That's a big room. Laugh Out Loud in San Antonio. MarkNormanComedy.com. Check out the show, the website, the Patreon. Get on the Patreon.
Patreon.com/We Might Be Drunk Pod. Merch at WeMightBeDrunkPod.com. Shout out to Gotham Studios. Matt, you're saving us every week. And to, of course, We Might Be Drunk Pod at gmail.com. If you want to email us Rex, drinks, jokes, peeves, whatever you want. So
whatever you got, yeah. And check out Anthony. He's one of the New York greats. And,
we love you.
I'm gonna
love
go.
you guys.
I'm going to that one man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
cool, man.
Let us know
that'd be awesome,
when we should come. But I can't wait to see it.
What's
incredible,
the room?
The story.
I'll be doing it in D.C. at the Comedy Loft. I'm doing a QED in Queens.
Oh, there you go.
I forgot. April 29th. Come to QED
Get
in
him in
Queens.
Haddon date. I'll be there. And, QED, yeah. No, that's going to be great. We love you.
We love you, Tony the third grader.
Definitely go. Definitely go see his show. He's a great comic, and it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, hell yeah. That sounds like a movie, if you ask me.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
We just had Judd Apatow on, so if Judd, if you're listening.
Oh, Judd, that coward.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Sunday's the day for my next bender. A bit of peeves, the beer juice close. I've had a little too much bourbon, and Norman's talking shit about the fucking Pope. And I get down in the same way. Up on the roof like a cop's coming, and naked Samuel is feeling dangerous. I'm out to lunch here in New Orleans. This woman doesn't look like I remember her, and I get down